Okay, hello everyone, welcome back. So this is the demo part of the experiment. If we follow the procedures, so I can pull up my procedure on the computer. I'm not sure if you can see this, but you can have the procedure in front of you. So the first step would be a preparation. So we want to prepare the milk solution. I also need to see my camera as well. So here I have the balance right here. There's the on and off button. So I just turn it on. Go, and I'm gonna put my 250 ml of sort of plastic beaker on top, and then I will press start. So that's the third button, and I will weigh 10 grams of dry milk, about 10 grams dry milk. So you can use the plastic spoon that in your kit. I came with a plastic spoon that you can use in your kit. So we need about 10 grams. So that's the plastic spoon you can find in your kit. I will add. So it looks like each spoon is about 4. That was a full spoon, about 4 grams. Okay, I got 9.98. So a good thing of having this paper is I can write everything on this paper as well. Right? So in case you do have a data table, which you actually don't use this number because it's preparation of milk, but it's always good to record everything while you're doing the experiment. So I will write here the dry milk. I'm not sure you can see it, but this is a little tiny, but I know it's 9.98 grams. So again, like that way you can record the data, and then you can always find data later on as well. But I don't think this is a part of your data table, but it's always good to collect all the data. Okay, so once that's way out, I will turn this off. And the next step would be adding water. Okay, adding water up to 100 ml. Up to 100 ml. So I'm going to do that, adding the water until I reach 100 ml. There we go. So we're just preparing the solution. It doesn't have to be exact. Right, so it's adding 100 ml. And after that, I will stir the solid, make sure everything is dissolved. Do not add more water, right? Don't need to add more water. Everything dissolves. Dry paste into no solid. I will mix into no solid left. Okay. After that, I will transfer about 10 ml into the graduated cylinder and add it into the medicine cup. And how do we transfer the 10 ml? We can use a dropper. We can pour it in and then use a dropper to fill up to 10 ml and transfer that into the cup. So here's my pouring first. I pour up to almost 10 ml, but not there yet, right? Oops. And I will just use the dropper. Add it up to 10 ml. Okay, and that's 10 ml. And we want to transfer it into the medicine cup, but make sure we weight the cup first. Here's on my balance. I weigh the cup. This data, you will need it to put in your data and observation. So here my cup, I'll write it on here. For now is 1.64 grams. And I will pour my milk in. And the cup plus milk is 11.64 grams. From here, I can calculate how much milk in grams that I actually used. Okay, so that's that. Turn it off. And let's take a look at what would be the next step. All right, so make sure we record all the data and put it into your data table. Always having this paper is great because I can write everything down every step as well. Okay, so make sure we calculate the milk. In this case, the milk, in my case, would it be the cup and the milk, which is 11.64 grams minus just the cup. And in my case, it's exactly 10 grams. Okay, my milk is about 10 grams. Okay. So once I have the milk sample, I'm ready. First of all, I'm ready to check the pH. So here's the back for the pH paper. Before I add any acid, I want to make sure I check the pH of my original milk sample. So here, what I do is I put the paper, pH paper, into my weighing boat. Okay. So I'll have 2 or 3 at a time first. So it looks like this. All right, and I'm ready to check the pH. So I will use my glass rod. Okay. You can rinse it off. So you don't have, well, it's the same milk solution. It doesn't really matter at this point, or you can rinse it off. You can just use it directly. I will stir a little bit. And I will check the pH of the milk. Okay. And good thing of having this paper is I can just set it down. And this is the pH of my milk. So I'll show you like this. So record the pH of your milk solution. So right now, I think it's about 6. Okay. Slightly. It's about 6 or 7. So there's not much change of the paper color. Right? And now I'm ready to add my vinegar. I'll just leave 2 stripes, pH strip inside first. All right, so here's my vinegar. And here's my flask. I'll just pour a little bit to cover the bottom. I don't need so much. I think that's about 5 ml. Like that. Right. So now I'm ready to add this, add the milk into, add the vinegar into my milk. So I'll add about a couple drops at a time. Do this first. Right, so I will add 1 or 2 drops first. And make sure we stir. And check the pH. Okay. And this is my second pH, which is my second dot. Hopefully you can see that. There's not much change yet, so I'll keep adding vinegar. So I will add, usually I would add a few drops, and I will set it back and stirring and check the pH. Right, so usually we want to reach pH quite a little acidic. So now I start seeing the change a little bit. Right, so it's slightly more acidic now. It's about 4. So I will keep adding until I see solid formation. So usually I add about 3 to 5 drops and stir, check the pH, and add again and stir, check the pH. But the ultimate goal here is to have the solid formation. Okay, so I want to show you my sample real quick. We'll start seeing the solid formation. That's right here on the side. And if you stir a little, we'll see a little solid formation on my rod on the side. All right, so what I'll do is I'll keep adding, see how the solid is forming. You may not, so if you look into the solution, we will see the solid formation as well. On the side of the cup, you will see the solids as well. Right, so I'll keep adding until I see not much change or no more solid formation. So if I check the pH right now, it's slightly acidic. So it's about 3. Okay, so I think I add about almost all my vinegar, which is about 5 ml. And here is how it looks like. And I turn on the light as well, so hopefully you can see through. There's a lot of solid formed. And when I check my pH is about 3. Okay, so I kept on checking my pH, it stays about 3. All right, so sounds like we reached our isoelectric point. All right, so that's, so we start seeing, we see the solid, we're ready for filtration or isolation of casing. All right, so what I have here on my piece of paper is pH before the acid, which what I had was about 6, right, around 6, and pH after we add the acid, which is about 3. So you will need these data for your data table as well. And now we are ready to isolate casing. So here, make sure we pre-weigh the filter paper. Pre-weigh the filter paper. So, filter paper, my filter paper is about 1.20 grams. And now I'm ready to isolate my casing in my medicinal cup. And I will fold my filter paper like this. So half and then quarter. Okay, half and then quarter. And here is my funnel. I will open, so there's my half and quarter. I will open it up. So I have only 1 sheet on one side and 3 on the other. And put it in my flask. And I'll use this cup, the plastic cup, as a receiving cup. Okay. And before I filter, we can rinse it off with a little with water. Okay, so we can rinse off with water. We will need a clean pipette. Do not use the one that, so we have 2 pipettes now. One is in the acid and one is the milk. If you want to rinse it with water, please make sure you have a clean pipette and just wet the weighing paper. And that way, it will stay sort of a stick onto your filter funnel, and so you won't, when you pour in your casing suspension, it won't go through the gaps between the paper and your filter paper. Excuse me, your paper and funnel, right? All right, so I wetted my weighing paper. I had a clean dropper. All right, so I have water. I rinse it off. So now I have try to minimize the gap between the filter paper with your funnel. So now I'm ready to filter. So make sure so what I'm doing right now is I want to have the solid all in the suspension. So when I filter it, I don't lose the solid on the side of my cup. And so it's a fine suspension. And I'm going to pour it in slowly. So let me move this a little bit so you can see I'm pouring it in the middle slowly. It's white so that you can see the water going through and leaving casing as a white solid behind on your weighing paper. And what about this cup right here? There's still some left. So what I'll do is that I will pour some water in there and rinse it through again and pour it in through my filter paper again. Okay, so I'm gonna set it here on my weighing bowl right here. A little bit, and then I will use my water. So here's a little bit left. Rinse off the side. Get as much solid as I could. I don't want to lose any my casing. And I will pour it through again. Looks better. You can rinse it a couple times if you like to, but it looks already better. Now wait for the water to drain off. If you like to, I find a better way is that you can rinse this off and set this on top, or excuse me, no, wrong one. This one you can rinse it off. That was the our vinegar, right? And set this on top of that as well. Okay. Okay. So now I think all my solution is drained out. My water drained off, and I have this white solid on my filter paper. So what I did was I took another clean weighing bowl, and I'm ready to remove this paper, and just open it up on top of the weighing bowl. Like this. And I'll let it dry overnight before I measure the weighing bowl as well as my casing, and because that's the data, another data point you will need for the lab. Right. So this is the first trial. So what you can do is, as a second trial, you can do exactly repeat the procedure that we just did with the milk solution that we prepare, or you can use your household milk, so either 2% whole milk or fat-free milk, and pour 10 ml, about 10 ml of that milk, and repeat the process. Okay, so there will be two trials. This is the first one, which is the milk powder, or you can use the same milk powder since we'll have 100 ml, right? We'll only use 10 ml, do a second trial. And in your data table, you have trial 1 and trial 2, and make sure you label the weighing bowl as trial 1, and you have your data here, and on your paper, make sure that's trial 1. Okay, so please store this in a safe, dry place. Keep it away from children, dogs. I have both children. I have a daughter and my dog, so I'll leave it at a place that very high, a safe place that my daughter can access to it. All right, so that's the experiment. So this is gonna need to dry overnight before you measure out how much casing you're isolated. And now I'm gonna set this to a dry and safe place. And let's talk about the disposal and cleanup. Remember, you need 2 trials. Either use the same solution, the milk solution that we prepared for trial 2, or use the milk that you have at your house. Give that a try. All right. Okay, so let's take a look at the waste I have. I have vinegar. So if you have another lab that you will need vinegar, please store them. And make sure you label it for lab use. Okay, so make sure you label it for lab use. If you don't have any other class anymore to use the vinegar, please pour down your drain and make sure you have running water running. Once you finish pouring, make sure let the running water run for about 5 to 10 minutes. Right. So, and the bottled water, we can discard down the drain as well. So with the running water as well. And if you need the bottled water for another experiment, make sure you write it for lab use so people don't, and put it back to your kit. So if you need to use it for another lab, make sure you put it back to your kit. And the dry milk here, since we're not going to use for another lab, we can discard in the trash. Right? Make sure you close this or wrap. So what I do is I will wrap in a food wrap so it doesn't spill. And here with the milk solution, it can be poured down the drain as well with running water. Make sure after you finish pouring, run the water for about 5 minutes down through the drain and clean your beaker, right? The glass beaker, and this can be discarded, right? The droppers can be discarded. Do not use the dropper. And here as well, discard the dropper and rinse your beaker and put it back to the graduated cylinder. Here as well, rinse it off and clean it up and put it back to your lab kit, excuse me. And the cups, I will rinse it off and throw the cups in the trash. Everything else can be thrown in the trash, and keep your glass rod. Make sure we rinse it off with water and put it back to your lab kit, right? So everything else, your funnel, please clean it and put it back to your lab kit. And this can be, after rinsing, can be discarded. And keep your pH paper in case you will need it for another lab. So put everything back in the paper bag, and the balance can be put it back in the box and back to your kit, right? And the pH paper can be thrown in the trash as well. Okay, so that's how. So here, everything. Make sure you have your data before you discard your paper or discard anything that you have your data on. Okay, all right, have fun, be safe.